the number one question whenever you think about doing a video like this or something along those lines is, who is the audience? Who am I trying to reach?
Hello and welcome to Velocitize Talks. My name is Andy North, and today my guest is Tim Baier, co-founder and CEO of Spiracle Media. Tim, thanks so much for being with us today.
Andy, thanks for having me. It's great to be here, man.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about Spiracle Media and some of the things that have you excited.
You know, Spiracle Media is just about to hit their 10th birthday, or our 10th birthday. We were born back in 2011, March of 2011. So we've definitely grown over the years. We focus on storytelling for businesses, nonprofits, universities, a number of different types of partners that we work with. And a lot of our team are former journalists that are now telling stories for businesses. And so it's really been our differentiator in the market is to bring that journalistic storytelling to the table when it comes to video, live streaming, aerial video, and then now podcasting is probably our latest offering that we've added to the table.
You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected all of us in different ways all around the world. Tell me a little bit how it's affected your industry and Spiracle Media in particular, and some of the opportunities and challenges that you see going forward.
Yeah, you know, it definitely affected us quickly. March, April, and into May, it was crickets. Everybody sort of shut down. We're waiting to see where things were going to go. I think uncertainty really drove the day, especially in the business market and in the marketing space. And so while we were still doing some things for our partners, most of the time we actually had to turn inward and start focusing on, you know, our own branding, our own storytelling about who we are as a company. And, you know, we actually looked at it as an opportunity to get ahead on some of those things that we definitely would not have had an opportunity to do if we didn't have the time. And so for us, it ended up being a real benefit to reset and get a feel for where we are and who we are as a company and as a team. But now I would say, you know, 5-6 months removed from the beginning of this thing, the faucet has definitely turned back on. A lot of our partners that we worked with before came back to us now and are ready to jump in with both feet. On top of that, we have a number of new partners reaching out and trying to figure out how to tell their story effectively through video. And so I've got my fingers crossed that this is the new norm, but we obviously are taking it, you know, trying to figure it out one day at a time.
Absolutely. And you mentioned storytelling. What role do you see video storytelling in this new world, and how are you working with your clients to prepare them for that?
You know, it's become so very important in everything we do. I think audiences now are really searching for authenticity in everything that they are consuming. And they can tell and sniff out a marketing ploy or marketing message very quickly. And so when you use storytelling to really show the effect of either your product, your service, your brand, whatever those pieces are that you're really trying to get across, it just comes across in a much more authentic way and much more digestible. And so story is, you know, one of those buzzwords that people talk about, but it is something that's very important over years. I mean, through the centuries, we started with, you know, the audio storytelling and verbal storytelling, and then we've now advanced to the point that we're doing video storytelling through digital. And, you know, as little as your phone, you can now watch a story and get connected with a brand or somebody that's trying to reach out to you.
Absolutely. Are there any examples or best practices that you can share with us?
You know, I think the best practice that we always look at is the number one question whenever you think about doing a video like this or something along those lines is, who is the audience? Who am I trying to reach? And what is going to resonate most with them? I think that is always the number one question that we talk about when we start a project. And I think it's what informs a lot of the decisions that you're going to make as far as whether you're going through social media to deliver this, whether you're going through your website, whether it's email, commercials, online. I mean, there are so many different opportunities and outlets for distribution that your audience that you're trying to reach really directs what that decision is.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people get caught up in what channel do I put this on? Does this need to be social? Does it need to be a case study? What have you? When it's really more, would you say it's more of the story that matters?
I think absolutely. I think you cut the story differently and you tell the story differently depending on where it's going, obviously with lengths and the style. But at the end of the day, you still have to have those core characters and that key storyline that's really going to drive the message.
Let's expand the lens a little bit. As a veteran marketer, you've seen the industry change quite a bit. How has digital marketing evolved, and where will you place your bets going forward?
It's definitely evolved. It's always changing, and I think that's what's hard about placing bets, because you really are trying to figure out what's next. And things just pop up that you didn't expect to be new and something that's captivating. And TikTok is something that we've seen for a while now, and now it's becoming used by businesses in different ways and brands in different ways. I think looking at where we're at, I think my bet on storytelling is still there, no matter what the forum is. And so I think if you have a good story to tell and you do it effectively, you can always find the right forum dependent on the timeline and the time that you're working in.
You mentioned TikTok, and it's a great example. How do you get an effective story told in roughly 8 to 10 seconds when you're trying to reach a certain target market?
That's a great question. I think it really comes down to emotion, the people that are involved in it. There is always something that comes along with the character. And so whether you're a brand that's trying to align yourself with somebody that's already experienced in that world, or whether you're trying to serve fresh content, you need to be able to think of what are the sub topics that are coming through that really makes sense to the audience. If you have such a short period of time, there are so many things about the close, who that person is. All those kind of things factor into how that message comes across.
That's fascinating. It's been reported by many outlets that Gen Z, the upcoming generation, leans very much on video, and they prefer to be entertained before they are informed. So if you're going to actually inform them, you've got to entertain them in some format first. I assume that plays well into into the video format.
It does completely, and you're right. Most of this generation that's coming up have grown up with video in their palm of their hand, and us when we grew up, that wasn't necessarily the case, and it's something that we've learned and we've adapted to. But when it's ingrained in everything you do, I look at my 3-year-old daughter who knows how to find Peppa Pig on YouTube on my phone. It's just crazy to see that these kids have been around this for so long. And so as we look for talent for our agency, we can look younger and younger, and they are more and more talented because they've had so much more exposure to the different tactics that we use in video storytelling.
And how do you see that user experience evolving over the next few years? Obviously, you've got an audience that's very, very comfortable using video as their primary forms of communication. How does that continue to evolve?
I think one of the things that we're seeing really get popular is sort of going back to those old books that we used to have. They were choose your own adventure. And you would read this page, and then you decide what the character was going to do, and you'd go to the page that you decided what they were going to do, and that would continue the story. Now we're doing that with video. And so the ability to get through, a 15 to 30 second intro and then choose what product or what you're interested in or what part of the story you want to learn more about. And that way you're able to customize your experience through the video rather than it being a one-way, vision that somebody is putting out to you. You're able to now create your own story that you're following.
So it's much more of an interactive exchange where that user or that viewer, if you will, really has a say in what content they consume as opposed to just the one-way communication.
Exactly. And the numbers that you're seeing are, the length of time that somebody will watch in that type of environment versus whether they're being served a straight, 5-10 minute video. Their interest level is obviously much more there when they're able to choose where things go and where everything happens.
One of the questions we ask all our guests is there a book, a blog, or a podcast that you'd like to recommend to our viewers?
We just finished as a company reading Good to Great, and that's always one that people like to bring up. But we, as a leadership team, really got a chance to dig into a little bit. We've been rolling out EOS, an entrepreneur operating system in our company, and reading through the different things that have made companies so great over the years. It was very inspiring to think of the little decisions that can make such a big difference. So that's one I always try and push out there.
Well, this has been excellent, Tim. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thanks for having me, Eddie.
My guest today has been Tim Baier, co-founder and chief executive officer of Spiracle Media.